on NBC. Today, the world's greatest athletes are showcased in the 45th annual NBA All-Star Game.
The 1995 NBA All-Star Game has come to Phoenix. A beautiful 67-degree day in the Valley of the Sun. You're looking at a sold-out America West Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. We're getting ready for the start of the 45th NBA All-Star Game. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Matt Guokas and Steve Snapper Jones. First, a look at the East. Shaquille O'Neal, Matt, making his third straight All-Star appearance. Now, you go back to last year, and Shaq did not see much of the basketball. Perhaps a victim of a freeze-out. There were double and triple teams, but this year he has brought along his point guard and his good friend, Anthony Hardaway.
Well, Shaq was definitely upset with the double and triple teaming and the fouling. The thinking being that the All-Star Game is just not the setting for it. But now, Marv, with his own head coach, Brian Hill, and his own point guard, Penny Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal could be leaving this building tonight with his own MVP trophy.
All right, there are a host of new faces on the Eastern squad, while Steve, on the West, it is a veteran geared squad, and there's no question the crowd favorite will be Charles Barkley of the Phoenix Suns.
No question that Charles Barkley will be the sentimental choice. And Marv, what's worse than a sentimental choice? One that's chasing history, and that's what's at stake for Charles Barkley this afternoon. He could become the first player in NBA All-Star history to be an MVP in the East and in the West. His first one was in Charlotte. Now, you know his coach knows that. All the state of Arizona knows that. No way he gets that hardware.
All right, the West has won 2 of the last 3 All-Star games. We are getting ready for the 45th installment. So, let's meet the players.
Welcome to America West Arena and the 1995 NBA All-Star Game. Ladies and gentlemen, here are your 1995 NBA All-Stars, beginning with the Eastern Conference. The head coach is a man who in 2 seasons has made his team a power in the Eastern Conference. From the Orlando Magic, Brian Hill. The assistant coaches are Tree Rollins and Tom Sterner of the Orlando Magic. The trainer for the East All-Stars is Gary Briggs of the Cleveland Cavaliers. This forward's defense, rebounding, and hustle have kept his team near the top of the Central Division. He's a first-time All-Star from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Tyrone Hill. A member of the All-Rookie first team last season and an All-Star for the first time. He has the size to play inside and the skills to play the perimeter. From the Milwaukee Bucks, Vin Baker. Another first-time All-Star, this Dynamo ranks among the league leaders in three-point shooting and free throw shooting. From the Philadelphia 76ers, Dana Barros. This young forward has overcome injuries to rejoin the NBA elite, making his second All-Star appearance from the Charlotte Hornets, Larry Johnson. This classy veteran is an All-Star on the court and in the community. Playing at his 5th All-Star game, the captain of the Detroit Pistons, Joe Dumars. A rugged center who has become one of the most feared big men in the game. An All-Star for the 2nd straight year from the Charlotte Hornets, Alonzo Mourning. This 7-foot center led his team all the way to the NBA Finals last season. He's making his 9th All-Star appearance from the New York Knicks, Patrick Ewing. Now the starting lineup for the Eastern Conference. One of the favorites for Rookie of the Year honors and the only rookie ever to finish first in fan voting for the NBA All-Star Game. Starting at forward from the Detroit Pistons, Grant Hill. And at the other forward, a five-time All-Star and the most valuable player of the 1994 NBA All-Star Game from the Chicago Bulls, Scottie Pippen. At guard, appearing in his first All-Star game, the MVP of the 1994 Ship Rookie Game. A 6'7" point guard who can do it all. From the Orlando Magic, Anthony Hardaway. One of the finest shooters in the league, he led his team to the Eastern Conference Finals last season. From the Indiana Pacers, Reggie Miller. And at center, starting in his third straight All-Star game, an NBA giant in every sense of the word. He leads the league in scoring. From the Orlando Magic, Shaquille O'Neal. And now, the Western Conference All-Stars. The head coach is an All-Star veteran, both as a player and a coach. From the Phoenix Suns, Paul Westphal. The assistant coaches are Lionel Hollins and Scotty Robertson from the Suns. The trainer for the West All-Stars is Joe Prosky of the Phoenix Suns. Selected by the coaches, but unable to participate due to injury, from the Lakers, Cedric Ceballos. This dominating defender leads the league in rejections, playing in his second All-Star game from the Denver Nuggets, Dikembe Mutombo. This versatile forward handles the ball like a guard, and at 6'10", can more than hold his own in the front court. From the Seattle Supersonics, Detlef Schrempf. One of the best defensive players in the league and the leading scorer for the Seattle Supersonics. Playing at guard in his second straight All-Star game, Gary Payton. This 7-year veteran was the highest scoring guard in the NBA last season. An All-Star for the third time from the Sacramento Kings, Mitch Richmond. Making his 8th All-Star appearance, the league's favorite truck-driving power forward from the Utah Jazz, the mailman, Karl Malone. This veteran point guard just became the NBA's all-time leader in assists, playing in his 7th All-Star game from the Utah Jazz, John Stockton. The captain of the San Antonio Spurs and one of the most dominant players in the league, playing in his 6th straight All-Star game, David Robinson. And starting for the Western Conference All-Stars, at guard, a 3-time All-Star who's made more three-pointers than any other player over the past 2 seasons. From the Phoenix Suns, Dan Majerle. At the other guard, in his second All-Star appearance, the first time as a starter, from the Golden State Warriors, Latrell Sprewell.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
At center, a 10-time All-Star and the 1994 NBA Most Valuable Player. From the NBA champion Houston Rockets, Hakeem Olajuwon. At forward, appearing in his 3rd straight All-Star game and one of the NBA's premier players. From the Seattle Supersonics, Shawn Kemp. Go to work. And at the other forward, a 10-year veteran. He was the 1993 NBA Most Valuable Player, a 9-time All-Star, and the heart and soul of the Phoenix Suns, Charles Barkley. Ladies and gentlemen, your 1995 NBA All-Stars. Please stand for the presentation of our colors by the U.S. Marine Corps Color Guard.
Eat there. Halt. Oh, wait. Hey.
And now to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome a unique group based in New York City. This boys' choir has performed at the White House on several occasions, the welcoming of Nelson Mandela to the United States and all over the world. The choir, under the direction of Dr. Walter J. Turnbull, have recorded soundtracks for the motion pictures Glory, Jungle Fever, and Malcolm X. Their latest recording, Sound of Hope, was recently released on East West Records. Please welcome the Boys Choir of Harlem.
It has been a 4-day celebration here in Phoenix leading up to this. And we'll be back with the NBA All-Star Game in just a moment.
The NBA All-Star Game is brought to you by Miller Lite. You can expect great things from the great taste of Miller Lite. By Eagle. Test drive an Eagle Vision at your local Eagle dealer. And by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth.
Better than 19,000 at America West Arena in Phoenix, hosting the NBA All-Star Weekend for the first time since 1975. In that game, the East beat the West. Walt Frazier of the New York Knicks, the MVP, scoring 30 points. The question coming into today seems to be who will be the most valuable player, and it looks like the early line candidates, Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley.
Well, the last time a center won the MVP was 1974, Bob Lanier. So it's very difficult for low-post centers, especially, to get involved. A guy like Robinson, Olajuwon has a better chance. A guy like Kemp, Malone, Barkley, the big guys that can get out and run and finish have an excellent chance.
Well, Charles Barkley seems motivated. You know, normally he's got on socks for Elliot Perry, but he's happy, he's spry. Normally at the start of these games, he's not nearly as active, so we could see something special from Charles Barkley right from Jump Street.
Is Charles wearing the high socks in honor of his Phoenix Suns teammate Elliot Perry, who has gone with that look. I don't see Scottie Pippen going with the red shoes. He was the MVP of last year's All-Star game. The officials, Dick Bavetta, making his second All-Star appearance, and Jack Neese and Steve Javie making their first All-Star appearances. And they go right to Shaquille. Single coverage by Olajuwon. And rebounded by Shawn Kemp of the Seattle Supersonics.
Well, this is the way the Phoenix Suns and Paul Westphal like to play Shaq. They would prefer that he make shots. They don't want to give him dunks or layups, but they're not going to double team him early.
Well, Shaquille last season missed his first 8 in the All-Star game, went 2 for 12 for the field. Olajuwon with the jump hook to get it going. Paul the West. Anthony Hardaway of the Orlando Magic.
Now let's remember that Paul Westphal was an offensive player, and he loves offense, so you're going to see some points scored, and the ball is going to be up and down. Kemp finally gets control.
And this is Latrell Sprewell of the Golden State Warriors going to the jump shot. Paul Westphal was saying earlier that he could single-handedly make Grant Hill the most valuable player of the game. You may ask how. He said by putting Charles Barkley on him defensively.
He was just on him there. He tried to force the baseline, gave him an open jumper, which is Grant Hill's weakness so far in the early part of his career.
The rookie from Detroit, the leading vote getter in the All-Star game, missing on his first attempt. Barkley played by Hill. This is Dan Marley for 3. And back comes Hardaway. Scottie Pippen on the pull-up. Yes. It's the West 4 and the East 2.
Well, typical of any All-Star game, it seems, any player who has the ball in their hands as they cross midcourt, they're going to let it fly.
And Marley does let it fly. Does not get the roll. Kept alive by Olajuwon, who pops it out.
Well, Marv, nobody's having a rougher All-Star weekend than Dan Marley. You know, he taught the kids $1 million shot. That doesn't come through. All he's been hearing this weekend is trade, trade, trade. So he'd like to have a good game this afternoon, and he's got to see one of those three-point shots go in.
And Dan did not fare well in the long-distance shooting as they hit on the alley-oop. Cut by Hardaway. Grant Hill playing that pass that was right on target.
And Penny let that thing fly from about 27, 28 feet, just with a little bit of eye contact with Grant Hill. Perfect pass.
The game is tied at 4. Olajuwon, played by O'Neal. Well, Shaquille getting that first field goal out of the way early here today.
I asked Penny yesterday if he felt any kind of extra pressure to get the ball more to Shaq. He said, no, just any normal time he's open or running on the break, I'll get it to him, but I'm looking for the other players as well.
Barkley not able to hit from downtown. Shawn Kemp able to spin on Pippen. And the game is tied at 6.
Well, with Pippen and Grant Hill playing the forward positions for the East, they are small forwards, actually. So the bigger guys like Kemp, like Barkley, like Karl Malone, when they come in to play against them, will have an overwhelming advantage inside.
Reggie Miller had a notion to fire it up from some 35 feet away. And again, it's Shaquille. This time dished it off. Scottie Pippen from Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, that's how you beat a double team or a triple team. Kemp came to help. Shaq found the open man.
The East by 2. Grant Hill with the steal. Leading O'Neal.
Well, if there was some concern about how the East was going to play because they've got all of these young players, we can see that's not the story because they are playing good, sound, basic basketball and making the West have to earn everything that they get.
Barkley with his first. The East leading 10-8. And the West not getting back. Grant Hill takes advantage.
Well, they were back. It's just that Charles Barkley was looking for a man and a bigger man. And as Paul Westphal very prophetically said, Grant Hill will get wide open against Charles.
And Barkley had it knocked away, and there's the first foul of the day.
Now, Matty, you talked about the way that they connected with their eyes, and you said Grant Hill had some problem with the jump shot, but no problem with the dunk.
And there, Shaquille O'Neal wide open underneath. Hardaway with his head up at all times finds the open man.
Hill called on that foul. Fadeaway shot by Barkley. The East 12 and the West 10. The East has hit its last 6 shots. Anthony Hardaway wearing the bandage over the left eye, took a couple of stitches last week. Result of an inadvertent elbow by Derek McKee of Indiana. Here's Marley. Rebound, Sprewell. For Marley. Marley on the 10.
That's the kind of weekend it's been for Dan Marley. It takes 3 of everything in order for him to get it done, but he finally gets his first 2.
Dan had missed his first 5 shots. Now double coverage on O'Neal. Again finds an open man. Miller is rejected. Sprewell leads a 4-on-2. Barkley for 3. And last touch by Marley. And a timeout is called.
Well, Dan Marley releasing on the jump shot, taking off, getting this fast break opportunity, but with a little bit of a hoop-de-doo finish, not really taking it strong. But he does come back and stays on the offensive board as the Eastern team, very slow in transition defense, giving Dan Marley an easy chance.
The game is tied at 12. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
Ahmad Rashad back at America West Arena. I'm joined now by Calvin Hill, the proud father of Grant Hill. Now, I understand that you are very proud of your son for coming in here and being the leading vote getter as a rookie.
Well, you know, I guess humbled is the word. I mean, you know, you look at these players, and obviously I think it's because Grant is new and fresh and got a lot of exposure at Duke, but, you know, humbled and proud at the same time.
Well, I also want to let the people at home know, because I do inside stuff, that you flew all around the country, to every arena in the country, and stuffed the ballot box.
Well, you know, the old Cook County vote came in at the end, and except it didn't come from Cook County, it came from Northern Virginia.
All right, Calvin. Back to you, Marv.
Thank you, Ahmad. And Grant Hill wearing Calvin's number 35 from Calvin Hill's NFL days. So Charles Barkley playing in his 8th game wearing number 8. Alonzo Mourning, 25 for his age. Grant Hill says he can't believe that he is here taking part in the All-Star game. Says he feels like he won one of those fantasy contests where you get to hang out with the All-Stars for a weekend. These are some of the guys that he watched in his high school days.
He was very hyper before the game and hardly could contain himself. He seems to be calming down now. You know, during that exchange while Calvin Hill was speaking to Ahmad, we saw some great hands defense. No points have been scored. So both teams have been able to get back and made some pretty good saves.
Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks has come on for the first time, as has Joe Dumars of the Detroit Pistons. Gary Payton of Seattle feeding to his Sonics teammate Sean Kemp. And the West leads 14-12.
Well, defense is never a priority in all-star games, but transition defense seems to suffer the most. Where players are always thinking, attack the basket, score, make a great play, and they just do not get back on defense, so there'll be a lot of breakaway layups like that.
Now Hill posting up, gives it up to Ewing. So Patrick Ewing, who has performed very well in all-star competition, hits on his first field goal attempt, and the game is tied at 14, 5:20 remaining in this opening quarter. Olajuwon with a beautiful spin. And the West up by 2.
A lot of that breakdown in transition defense, though, comes because you're not familiar with these guys. You don't know when the shot's going to come up, and you're caught looking.
Scottie Pippen, a forced shot. Ewing. And Patrick Ewing hitting on his first 2. Made reference earlier to the trade rumors revolving around Dan Marley, and Dan says that it has already spoiled his weekend. Foul called on Hill.
Foul is up to 35, Grant Hill.
Well, next week, Marv, you and I will be in New York for a rematch of sorts of the NBA Finals. These two teams have already met once on a beautiful spin move by Akeem Olajuwon against Ewing. And now Patrick left wide open as Grant Hill threw the defense to him and shoveled off nicely.
And that might be the difference between the two centers, and that one likes to get inside a little bit more. Patrick Ewing has a tendency to stay out on the perimeter a little bit more, but they're both having great seasons.
Alonzo Mourning called for the foul, and Sean Kemp will go to the line.
The things that the coaches are concerned about in these All-Star games, in particular in the first 3 quarters, they want to divvy up the minutes as equally as possible, with the starters maybe getting a little bit of an edge. And then as the 4th quarter comes into play, they start thinking about how they're going to win this game. That is the object here. There is a money difference, and there's a pride factor. Both these teams want to win the game, and we'll see it heat up as we move along.
Now, this is a little bit different because both coaches got players, and and one's got the hometown team on him, so it'll be interesting to see how Paul Westphal handles Marley and Barkley down the stretch.
Off the double team on Morning, it was nearly picked off. Dana Barros, who just checked in, able to rescue it. Dumars stripped. And Mitch Richmond with his first opportunity. Larry Johnson chasing it down and able to save it to his Shawnee teammate, Alonzo Mourning. Dana Barros of the 76ers for Patrick Ewing. On the Knicks, the foul is called on Kemp, getting the shoulder in on Ewing. Patrick Ewing playing his best basketball as a pro. He was the player of the month in January. There you see the move by Ewing, which will put him at the line.
And Marv, you've talked about it many times, the reason that Ewing is playing so well and had such a great month. His health is better. His knees seem to be more resilient than ever, and he's intent on getting back into that championship round.
Well, he missed all of preseason recovering from knee surgery. Started slowly, but has come on very strong, and certainly one of the many factors leading to the good play by the Knicks as of late. Olajuwon able to hang and get away with it.
Well, that was Ewing's man who was shooting the free throws, and both East guards, Joe Dumars and Dana Barros, fell asleep, I think, counting the house here, see how many people were here, and Olajuwon just slipped right by them.
Alonzo Mourning. Rebound missed by Ewing. Olajuwon pops it down and overthrows Kemp.
Charles Barkley likes to throw this ball long anyway, and that's one of Phoenix's favorite plays. And when he sees a white jersey down there, he makes a perfect catch. Can't say the thing for Olajuwon. He's a catcher, not a pitcher.
3.5 remaining in this first quarter. Barros looking for his specialty. A 3-point shot. And here's Gary Payton popping it down to Shawn Kemp, trying to take advantage of the mismatch, and the foul is called on Mourning. Barros was the man at first attempting to guard Kemp.
That's typical Western Conference basketball. Always looking to run, always looking to make the longest outlet pass possible to get the easiest shot. Steve, you're laughing at me. 7 of the top 9 scoring teams in the league, all from the Western Conference, and the other 2 from warm weather cities, Orlando and Miami.
It's spoken like a coach in the East. The object is to get the ball in the hole as quick as you can, as easily as you can.
I thoroughly agree.
And we're talking to a run-and-shoot style guy from the ABA, a 3-time ABA All-Star, should be pointed out, who likes the Western style.
Hey, I don't think every player doesn't like to play that style.
Foul called on Barkley. Charles Barkley earlier this week suffered an eye muscle bruise. That was Wednesday night against Utah. Sat out the second half. Said yes, he does have double vision, and made the point that he hopes he can see one of the golf balls tomorrow.
Well, he plays 2 on every shot until he's happy.
Larry Johnson at the line. Substitutions, Detlef Schrempf, one of 3 Seattle Supersonics to make the All-Star team. And David Robinson of the San Antonio Spurs check in, replacing Hakeem Olajuwon and Charles Barkley.
Well, this guy at the free throw line has to be one of the biggest stories of the All-Star game. Larry Johnson and his career seemed to be spiraling downward. He finally rehabbed himself, and he's back to a dominant force in the East.
We were talking about Larry Johnson the other day with Alonzo Mourning, who said the injury, nice pass, but Richmond could not hit the reverse. The injuries may have been a blessing because Larry Johnson has been able to improve his 3-point shooting and also his passing. So other phases of the game have come on, although he does not have the usual explosion that he had in his earlier years.
But it is much better, Marv, than what we saw in the summer at Toronto. So he is making strides in that area as well.
Patrick Ewing called on the foul.
The danger of defending David Robinson in an open court is you can get embarrassed. He plays like a forward. A nifty little crossover is the reason he gets to the basket, and Patrick Ewing has to slap him across the wrist.
Welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona. This is the 70th year that Goodyear Blimps have covered the nation's top sporting events. West 21 of the East 20, 2.5 to go in this opening quarter. Let's go to Hannah Storm with Scottie Pippen of the Chicago Bulls, a man who has been in the news as of late.
Well, he's a guy who made quite a statement last year at the All-Star game, not only with his play, but with those ugly red shoes. I noticed that you're quite calmer this year, the black and red version.
Yeah, this is the newer version of them. I was going to try the red ones, but I decided to come out with the little black. So I didn't think it would fit in with my purple too well.
Well, you know, a lot of people have been hoping that you would wear a different color shoes maybe coming up. A lot of trade rumors flying this week. The folks in Phoenix have made it clear they'd love to have you here. Talk of you maybe going to the Rockets. Is it your sense that you might be traded, or do you think you might be staying in Chicago?
Well, right now, I mean, I'm in Chicago, so, you know, I'm going to leave it at that and just let whatever happens take place.
You said you'd like to come here. Do you still feel that way?
Well, definitely. I mean, this is a championship caliber team, a team that contend for a title. So if I'm traded here, you know, it'll be more than welcome for me.
Scottie, with all the frustrations that you've gone through this season, how have you maintained an all-star level of play?
Well, basketball is the most funnest thing in my life right now. And, I enjoy it when I go out and play. I play hard, and you know, it's just been the fun part of this season for me is that I've been having a good season and having a good time.
All right, thanks, Scottie. Continue to have a good time this afternoon. Mark?
All right, Hannah, Sean Kemp called for the foul to put Alonzo Mourning on the line. No question Scottie Pippen looking to go elsewhere, but it's interesting how a trade was constructed the last couple of days, because he has been asked would he like to play for Phoenix, and of course he's saying sure. Most guys around the NBA wouldn't mind playing for certainly one of the best organizations in basketball. So a proposed deal was put together in the newspapers. Pippen for Dan Marley. Wesley Person was one that was suggested, and that's a deal really that can't be done. Person is in the first year of a contract, can't be included in a multiplayer trade, and the Bulls have indicated if a deal is made, they want lottery picks. And as we mentioned earlier, Marley has said this has all ruined his weekend because he wants to stay right here.
Ruined his, and their GM and chairman of the board, Jerry Colangelo, has been having a little bit of fun with it, and they pushed it to a new level when he said it could be 50-50 that it was possible.
Or he said 50-50 that it might not happen. David Barrows hits the three, and the West leads 25-24. And back comes the East. Dumars given the shot. Rebounded by Robinson of the Spurs. And here's Richmond of the Sacramento Kings. Schrempf. Payton and Richmond in the backcourt now. Schrempf with Robinson and Kemp up front. Schrempf for three. And Mourning rebound.
Well, about 11 seconds went off the shot clock at that time. They might as well turn that thing off. Both teams looking to be very aggressive offensively. The first shot that shows it's going up.
Barros went wide of the mark, and Robinson with the rebound.
Real question, Matt, will be can the East really take the pace of the game since they are not used to up and down, up and down.
And Sean Kemp knocks down his third field goal.
I don't think there's any question that they will be able to play that pace. As I said before, they all like to run up and down. Remember the Charlotte Hornets? They used to go up and down. Now they're a more defensive-oriented team. We have two Hornets out on the floor right now.
Kemp is the high man. He has 9 points. He's hit 3 of 3 from the field. Nice hook by Mourning to answer for Alonzo his first field goal. The West leads by 1, and again the fast break pays off. It's Kemp with 11 points. The West 29 and the East 26. Half minute to go in this opening quarter. And a leg block is called. A new 24 will be posted.
The reason that Sean Kemp is playing so well, no slam dunk. You know, he wanted to be the slam dunk champion, could never get it done. David Robinson throws that one down, but Sean Kemp has been very active here early. He has put all of his intentions on playing a solid game this afternoon.
Sean Kemp entered the NBA at age 19, did not play college basketball. He has come a long way. This is third All-Star appearance. Ewing against Robinson, and Patrick Ewing has had the touch. 3 out of 4 from the field. He's the high man for the East with 8. The West leads by 1. We're down to 10 seconds to go in this first quarter. Mitch Richmond fires. Yes. Out of 3 seconds in the quarter. The West by 3. Barros setting up Mourning. So that is the end of the first quarter of the 45th NBA All-Star game in Phoenix. Shawn Kemp has led the way. 4 of 5 for the field. He has 11 points in all.
Shawn Kemp was able to beat everybody up and down and show a lot of that athleticism. Boy, he's got his eyes on an MVP, stealing it from my man Charles.
You're watching the NBA All-Star Game.
Ahmad Rashad back at America West Arena here in Phoenix, and I'm with Charles Barkley. Charles, one thing I noticed right off the bat are these high socks and the number 8, which is not your number. Explain that to me.
The socks are for Elliot Perry. He's been the reason why we had the best record in the league, and I want to reward him. The number 8, I wanted to get his number, but Miss Richmond had that because Akeem took my number because he's rude. But number 8, that's how many All-Star games I played in.
All right, but now tell me this. It's in your backyard here. Any pressure on you to be the MVP?
Oh, no. I've got it once, and it'll just be something else to clutter up my house.
You know what? Elliot looks better in those long socks than you do.
This is not made for fat people. It's a look for skinny guys.
All right, Marv, back to you.
Who's running a Charles material today? Little stand-up by Charles, who was the MVP of the 1991 All-Star Game in Charlotte. I'm sure another MVP award would clutter up the house. Second quarter is underway. The East 11 for 25 from the field in the first. The West 13 of 27. Kembe Mutombo of the Denver Nuggets on the floor for the first time. Peyton not able to hit that three-point attempt. And last touched by Vin Baker of the Milwaukee Bucks, who has come on for the first time.
Vin Baker is just tickled. I spent some time with him the other day. He just can't believe he's here. He's playing with a losing team, but all the coaches in the Eastern Conference have seen quite a bit of Vin that they like.
And Mutombo, a man who did not make the squad originally, was very upset about it. Then when Cedric Ceballos suffered the injury, Mutombo was added to the roster. The West leading 33 to 28. Reggie Miller for 3. And back comes Peyton.
Peyton and Barros used to be teammates, and Peyton is saying, I can still get by you, and gets an easy score.
Shaquille O'Neal. So Shaquille on the drive. The Western squad with Peyton and Richmond in the backcourt. Schrempf up front with Mutombo and Robinson. And Detlef Schrempf able to hit on his first field goal. The West has opened up a 7-point lead. It's their biggest lead of the game. Larry Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Vin Baker on the front line for the East. And Barros and Reggie Miller in the backcourt. They double-team Shaquille. Barros for 3 from way downtown. Rebounded by Baker. The box out by O'Neal. A pull-up pass for Baker, who was stripped. And here comes Peyton. A hot dog move by Peyton, and then comes up short.
Oh, Gary Payton's eyes have lit up when he has little Dana Barros in the open floor. He's thinking take him to the rim because the first couple of perimeter shots by Gary haven't been close.
You see him right there, but that's prime time. That's not hot dog. That's prime time.
Oh, I see. It's all point of view, isn't it, Stu? Mitch Richmond with 4 points. And the West leading 39 to 30. Larry Johnson with much daylight hits the 3. That is his first field goal. A 6-point lead by the West.
Alonzo Mourning told us that he thought that Larry Johnson was their best 3-point shooter. And that's part of that development that you had talked about because of the back injury. And that was an example of it.
Mutombo demonstrating the hook shot. Robinson. And a foul is called. So the West squad going with a combination of Mutombo and Robinson. Timeout is taken. Back in a moment. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
The NBA All-Star Game is brought to you by Beechwood Aged Budweiser. It's always been true. This Bud's for you. By the new Monte Carlo, a driver's car built around your needs for comfort, security, and control. And by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
Well, Phoenix, Arizona has provided the setting for a Georgetown Center reunion with Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, and Dikembe Mutombo all making the All-Star team. Moments ago, Ewing and Mutombo on the court at the same time, and Hannah is with both Patrick and Alonzo.
Yes, it is a Georgetown reunion. That was quite a moment. First time you guys have ever played together on the same court, I guess, other than summertime.
Oh, definitely. Last year, Alonzo pulled up lame on me, but this year he's here battling with me.
You know, Alonzo was injured last year and has done an admirable job of coming back from that injury. Are you proud of the job he's done this year?
Oh, yes, he has. He's having an outstanding year. You know, he's a great player, and I'm happy to see him here. Not only him, not only Alonzo, but also Dikembe.
You don't have to say that, Pat. Oh.
Well, you're right here with me.
What about you, Alonzo? Is this the best you've ever seen Patrick play? I mean, he's really taken over the Knicks this year with a couple of tough injuries there, and they're playing terrific basketball.
Well, he definitely has been. You know, he has a lot of weight on his shoulders. He's playing extremely well. You know, he's showing it today in the game, shooting the ball very well.
You guys hope to meet in the playoffs?
Well, hey, if he's there, that's who we got to go through.
They don't want to see us in the playoffs.
How's that new baby girl of yours, by the way?
Oh, she's doing fine. I want to wish her well. And my wife also.
All right, you guys have fun out there. Nice Twin Towers combination, Mark.
All right, Hannah. Foul was called on Gary Payton, has opened up with 7 assists in this first half. The record most assists in a half in All-Star competition, 13 by Magic Johnson back in 1984. Anthony Hardaway, who has chalked up 5 assists, has been having his free throw shooting problems recently, and there is Irvin Magic Johnson.
Yeah, this used to be Magic Showcase, and it'll be interesting to see whether Payton and Hardaway develop that kind of Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson mentality for these teams out here and really push the pace and have some fun.
Showing a very quick first step.
Well, that's really the strength of David Robinson's game, able to go out and set that screen roll, face the basket, drive it, and then if he doesn't score, wind up on the free throw line.
The Utah connection, Karl Malone and John Stockton getting set to check in. Shaquille O'Neal with a fadeaway for his 4th field goal. 8 points for Shaquille. Oh, nicely done. Mutombo on the alley-oop. So the West up by 10 with 8.5 remaining in this first half.
You just figured this out. Hill, his team scores how many points a game? Westfall's team scores how many points a game? And you're thinking that there's going to be any offense scored in this ball. Both of these coaches showing what they believe is really critical for their team to have success.
O'Neal from Hardaway. And back comes Payton. Leads a 4-on-2. Payton takes all the way. Rebounded by Richmond.
And Reggie Miller had to feel like Custer's last stand there, as nobody for the East got back on defense with the exception of Vin Baker, and Reggie standing there, stood there for a while, and then bailed out.
On the subject of Vin Baker, the second-year man of the Milwaukee Bucks, he has a very peculiar pregame ritual. Perhaps you guys, both former players, can explain the reasoning behind it. He takes a shower right before the game. Go out for the warm-ups, and then he'll take the shower.
I think he thinks he's warming himself up, but I'll tell you one, there's one other player that does the same thing, Marv, and that's Chris Mullin. And I think it's one of those things where the hot water makes him a little bit looser, but you're never sure because now you're playing a cold arena and you come out and you're that hot. Pretty cold.
Steve, whatever you said, I buy it. I have no idea what you had said. But Vin says it clears his head. Gets him ready. The West 47 and the East 35. O'Neal keeping it alive. The East is 5 of 10 from the foul line. John Stockton of the Utah Jazz. Mutombo up front with Malone and Shrep, Stockton and Richmond in the backcourt. Shrep. Mutombo kept it alive, as does Richmond. And the West has opened up a 14-point lead. That was the most patient offensive sequence we have seen. The West swinging the ball, looking for a good shot.
And it's amazing that you do get good shots and then good offensive rebounding opportunities when you make the defense move. But that's not the object of this ball game.
And as Shaquille goes to his move, Dick Pavetta making the call. So the foul on Mutombo. Timeout taken, 6:54 left in the half. A moment ago, we got a glimpse of Magic Johnson. Remember, Magic voted a 1992 All-Star starter by the fans despite retiring prior to the season. And he ended a marvelous NBA career in storybook fashion, putting on a show with 25 points in 29 minutes, winning the MVP in a truly memorable day. Let's go to Ahmad with Magic.
All right, thanks, Marv. Now, as I watch this All-Star game, we just saw those highlights. It just reminds me and reinforces the fact there will never be another Magic Johnson.
Well, thanks, Ahmad. But, you know, it was a lot of fun when I played, and we had a good time. And our thing was to appeal to the crowd. We tried to run the ball up and down. Then when you have Showtime players like Michael Jordan, Dr. J, and Larry Bird, and Dominique Wilkins, all those guys that were in their heyday at that time, it made it fun for everybody.
But it's still fun for you. You still show up and watch these All-Star games.
Oh, no question about it. Always the NBA Finals. I love basketball. I love the NBA. And it is fantastic. You know, only thing is we just were spoiled in the 80s. Now we had to get used to our stars of the 90s. And we had some great stars in Shaquille and Hardaway and Pippen and Charles Barkley, you know, Reggie Miller and Akeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing. I can tell just on and on and on. John Stockton, Karl Malone, you know, just all of them. And the fans just had to give them some time because these guys can really play, and the NBA is not going anywhere. It lasted. It went on before Michael, myself, and Larry. It's going to go on after us.
You know what the only constant is? The All-Star at the mic, and that's Marv Albert. Marv?
There you go. Hey, Marv, Steve, Matty.
Ahmad, I don't know what to say. And I know he was dripping with sincerity also.
I was going to say, that's the first nice thing he's ever said to you.
We know he wants something. The West 51 and the East 37 with 6:20 to go in this first half. And Tyrone Hill of the Cleveland Cavaliers, despite a jammed finger playing in the All-Star game, making his first appearance of the day. Here's a 2-on-1 Richmond with Malone. Richmond off the ball fake, got it to Malone.
Picture-perfect 2-on-1 break. Karl Malone getting rid of the basketball just so he could get it back on the finish, which he has done so well for so long.
And in the second quarter, the West has dominated. They have outscored the East 22-11 as Larry Johnson is able to hit on his second field goal. The West up by 14 points, and the foul being called. Foul on Hardaway. Charles Barkley is back, along with Latrell Sprewell.
Now, the big reason why the West has this lead is the offensive boards. As Mutombo battles in there, nobody gets a body on him. And now the fast break opportunity for Karl Malone. Nice feed by Mick Richmond. Karl Malone was kind of iffy coming into this ball game, had a little bit of an ankle problem. Karl Malone has only missed 4 games in 9.5 years, regular season game.
Now, that's been tremendous resiliency, but I think you hit it right on the head that where the West is dominating this game has been their ability to strike quickly and easily in transition and on the glass. They've almost been able to do whatever they want.
6 points for Barkley, and the West is up by 16. Hardaway getting an extra step or two on that sequence, and Ewing was able to finish it off. So the West leads 55-41.
Well, Javi would have had something to say about that normally, and that might even have resulted in a T, but it is an all-star game.
Mutombo setting up against his good friend Ewing, had nowhere to go. Sprewell, played by Pippen. Malone. Malone. Along with his second field goal, he has 4. Marv Albert along with Matt Dukas and Steve Snapper Jones. Bob Costas and Julius Erving will be on hand. At halftime, Hill lost it. Recovered by Hardaway. Hardaway blocked. Rebounded by Hill. Hill gets inside, yes, and it counts. Tyrone Hill of the Cleveland Cleveland Cavaliers with the basket, and he'll go to the line.
Hill is a guy that said it didn't matter to him whether he got chosen to the All-Star team. It's a great honor, but showing you why he is such a valuable commodity to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Always in and around and close to the glass and cleans up. All these guys that are hurt, they always say the same thing. I could have used the time off, but you can't pry them away from the weekend once you get them here.
He did not want to be put on the ballot, and actually he felt that his teammate, John Hot Rod Williams, actually deserves to be voted on to this team by the coaches. And again, but Tyrone Hill, I think, very happy he showed up.
Foul line violation, giving the ball to the West. Yes, Hot Rod Williams has had an excellent year. You could also make a case for Hot Rod of those injury-battered Cleveland Cavaliers. 4:20 remaining in the first half. Backdoor pass for Barkley, and it will count as a goaltend. Stockton gets credit for the field goal.
So unusual to be watching the East team right now with Scottie Pippen, but Charles Barkley always with the head up, found Stockton on the back door as the clear goaltend call by Patrick Ewing. But Scottie Pippen playing a lot without the basketball. He's not used to that. He likes to feel that leather in his hand.
Ewing had his pass intercepted by Sprewell.
Too many white shirts.
Benson Barkley finishes it off. The West 61, the East 43. Scottie Pippen off the fake, and then Barkley got back. Nice recovery, and it's last touch by Pippen.
Well, Charles Barkley starting to get involved now, and that will really get this crowd going as Sprewell finds Charles streaking down the left side, and then Charles getting back in transition defense, which is something he has always done ever since he got in the league. He knew it meant playing time.
A little traveling music, perhaps.
All he needed was a trampoline.
Barkley giving it off to Sprewell.
Now, the guys in purple are going to have to call 911 because they're having trouble getting up and down. Grant Hill is the only one that really is staying fresh in his transition game.
63-47, the West.
Because we have seen very few whistles on obvious violations.
Open shot for Hill. 10 points for Grant Hill. Says he feels he's aged about 20 years the last 3 months, making the transition from college. He says at times he feels physically and mentally drained. What a rookie season, though, it's been for this young man.
Grant Hill opened everybody's eyes to his great all-around ability, particularly the ability to play above the rim. You have seen a lot of Grant Hill highlights, catch and drop. He has been spectacular for Detroit and is going to be a terrific all-star. So he starts right off with a lot of appearances.
2:07 remaining in the half. The West by 14. You're watching the NBA on NBC. A flashback to the 1983 All-Star Game played at the Forum in Los Angeles, and the Dr. Julius Erving put on a Hollywood-type performance. A game-high 25 points, and his East team won the game. The Doctor would win his second All-Star MVP award, his first coming back in 1977, and Julius will be alongside Bob Costas and Pete Messi presenting the Prudential halftime report. They'll take a look back at great plays for the first half of this NBA season and check out the divisional races. We have 2 minutes and 7 seconds to go in this first half. The West on fire with a 63-49 lead. It's interesting. You look at the breakdown of the West shooting from two-point range, 28 of 42, 68% from the floor, but they're 0 for 11 from three-point land, which obviously has not hurt them. Malone is fouled by Tyrone Hill, and Karl Malone will head to the line.
I thought with the starting lineup of the Western Conference, Sprewell and Marley, that Charles Barkley would have to be the ball handler. In fact, Charles had said, this is the first time I'll ever be on the floor where I am a better dribbler than the guards. But right now he's out there with John Stockton and making a beautiful feed to the curling Karl Malone.
Well, the play has been open enough to where all of these guys can see and make passes, and that's the reason that things are going so well. They might be talking about one day playing together.
Wishful thinking.
High-point man of the game, Sean Kemp leading the West with 11, 10 apiece for Shaquille O'Neal, Grant Hill, and Patrick Ewing. Dumars played on a switch by Elijah Wan. Shot clock is actually down to 5. And Ewing script. Stockton has a 4-on-2. Barkley. Well, that's one we have not seen in the Charles Barkley repertoire. 10 points for Charles. Pippen for 3. Yes. Scottie Pippen answers, and the West leads 66-52.
Brian Hill is probably going to look at that stat sheet at halftime and say, let these guys shoot three-pointers. We can't guard them inside, so if they just sag everything in, we might see a change. But right now, it's been a dominant effort by the inside people up front for the West.
Karl Malone has 9 points. Earlier today, Rush Limbaugh, as we saw on the pregame show, talked to the West squad as per request of Paul Westphal as Rush turned it around. Malone was able to slam it. I'm assuming, though, that, and as I watched Malone come in from the right, that there was heavy emphasis to that side. 40 seconds to go in the first half. 70-52, commanding lead by the West. Dumars with his first field goal.
Steve, you mentioned that Brian Hill will talk about letting them shoot the threes. First of all, his team's going to have to get back on defense and then rebound.
Timeout has been called with a half-minute remaining in the half.
Don't get up in no 20s now. You talk about Karl Malone and coming in from the right. He's been effective in a short period of time. I mean, Matt Gukas wrote me a note. Stockton and Malone haven't played, and about 15 minutes had gone by. Suddenly, they're in the ball game and a huge impact. Malone showing the ability to shoot. That's the biggest improvement in his game. He's always had the power.
And how many times has John Stockton made this play? Of his 900 assists, about 7,000 of them had to be to Karl Malone on plays just like that.
Yeah, he's John Stockton is closing in on 10,000 career assists. You look at what Karl Malone has been able to do in all-star games. He knows how to get the ball in the hoop.
And Dumars comes back for the East. Nice lead pass. Joe Dumars finding Alonzo Mourning on the hop. Scottie Pippen. They have gone to the backcourt, but no violation is called. And a loose ball foul against the East.
Joe Dumars with great vision finds Alonzo Mourning, and Mourning is not going to miss this one. And even though Malone got a piece of it, the power of Mourning showing right there puts the cap on it. Smiling about that. Give me 2 more of those.
And to show you it is an all-star game, Scottie Pippen getting that steal in midcourt with about 17 seconds to go in the half. Normally the coach will hold you, make you hold it out. Let's take one shot. Scottie was open. He let it go.
Alonzo Mourning called for that foul. It puts the East over the limit. And the West has outscored the East now 40-28 here in the second quarter. Karl Malone has 12 points.
And Karl Malone, normally the guy in the league who goes to the free throw line more than anybody. That's Shaquille O'Neal and David Robinson. Now, Karl's down to about 8 a game, mainly because he's become more of a face-up jump shooter from about 17 feet. Less free throws for him.
His free throw shooting has come a long way since his rookie season. Final seconds of the half. Hill. Rebound Malone. Stockton eyeing the clock. Let's loose. And that is the end of the first half here in Phoenix, with the West leading the East 72-56. 55% shooting by the West. The high point man Malone with 12, 10 apiece for Grant Hill, Shaquille, and Patrick Ewing. Stay tuned for the Prudential halftime report coming up right after these messages.
This is the Prudential halftime report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
The West is the home club. They led by as many as 18 at one time in the first half. They lead by 16 at halftime, 72-56. Karl Malone played only the last 8 minutes. He leads all scorers with 13. Kemp has 11, and Barkley 10. Bob Costas back along with Julius Erving and Peter Bessie. Doc, a thought on the first half?
Well, I'll tell you, Paul Westphal is showing a little bit of experience in these all-star games in the second quarter. He elected to go with the big lineup. He put Mutombo, Robinson, Tremp out on the court at the same time with Richmond and Gary Payton. I
think that's when the game turned around.
Peter.
I don't think it's strategy. It's definitely the home court advantage of the West. No, we know it's all about talent. The West has more talented teams than the East. They have more talented players. The East has 4 players from sub-500 teams. The West only has 1 player, Latrell Sprewell.
Well, folks, as you've seen in the first half tonight, the NBA generates plenty of material for the highlight reels, and we've got 2 minutes of some of the best plays from the first half of the season, compiled, as Marv Albert would say, by our crack staff. Roll it.
Here's O'Neal.
By Skiles. Oh, yes. My. Hardaway putting the move on Starks. Hardaway with a spectacular maneuver. They dig it out. Richardson's got it stumbling. Does a 360, 10 with the dribble. A great play. Underneath it. He gives it out. Oh, reverse. Gets it to Van Exel. He makes the wish. Oh! Hardaway 1-on-2 behind the back. To blow by him, and he does! He puts it on 40. Round to Kidd, and his pass off the glass, back to Kidd with a layup. Well, what a piece of confidence! What a play! Oh, a circus shot by Sprewell. Gets it up to Starks on a key, and he slams it over Elijah. Oh my goodness! Kidd off the drive. Whoa, Jason! Hardaway. Tony got it. Oh, stolen at the baseline. And the ball goes in. It counts. Starks without a 5. Ewing for the win. Yes. Oh, are you kidding? Here's Jackson. Feeds Mashburn. Got bumped to 360. Grab. Oh, baby. How about that? Great effort. Trailing, gets it, feeds to Kemp into the air, double pump, goes the left-hander up from the belt buckle, and caramba!
All right, so much for some great individual moments. We'll turn our attentions to the teams as when we return, we size up the NBA's 4 divisions at the halfway mark. That's after a message from Prudential. And as always, a word from the NBA. At the half, the West leads the East 72-56 in the All-Star game. We've seen some of the best plays from the first half of this NBA season. Now let's take stock of the 4 division races and see how those races look at the halfway mark. In the Pacific, Phoenix holds the edge over defending division champion Seattle, ahead of the surprising Lakers, and Sacramento, also a big surprise. Still haunted by last May's playoff stumble to Denver, the Sonics started slowly, but they've surged back of late with their all-star trio leading the way. Meanwhile, it's the Suns who boast the NBA's best record. But now they must cope with the season-ending loss of versatile forward Danny Manning.
And I just have to make sure that when surgery comes, I come out of surgery, I work as hard as I possibly can to get back.
Psychologically, it won't affect us. Because once the game starts, we know we've got to do what we need to do.
In the Midwest, it's Utah atop the division, with San Antonio and Houston giving chase. Last season's NBA champion Rockets dream of a repeat, but they're also discovering the difficulty that comes with wearing the crown.
Every night, you've got to be at the top of your game, because people are going to try to knock you off the mountain.
And while the disappointing Nuggets and their new coach are struggling to regain some of last year's playoff brilliance, it's the Jazz who streak to the top of the division by winning 15 games in a row on the road at one point, as they become the league's most accurate shooting team.
I think these guys have overachieved. If you look at, I don't think anybody in this building would have ever said this team would have had played it where we are today.
In the East, the Hornets are buzzing, leading the Central over the Cavs, Pacers, and Bulls. In Cleveland, Mike Fratello's injury-riddled lineup is winning nonetheless and doing it with defense, giving up an NBA low of just 89 points a game. Indiana has the division's top home record and their best start in 14 years. While Chicago has flirted with the 500 mark all season long, as the future of disgruntled forward Scottie Pippen is clouded by trade talk. But in Charlotte, the Hive is alive and humming as the Hornets have soared to their best start. They're in first place later in the season than ever before.
I think that if we continue to stay healthy and continue to do the things that we've done thus far, then I think that we stand a chance to winning the division, without a doubt.
Orlando is the powerhouse in the Atlantic, turning the division into a two-team race, and at that, the Knicks are a big 6.5 behind after a sluggish start and the loss of Charles Oakley. The Knicks won 13 of 15 in January to close the gap a bit against their new arch rival.
They got Horace Grant and they got Brian Shaw this year, and it just goes to show that from those additions that, you know, they probably felt that they are and we're going to be the team in this conference. You know what? They are.
And the record proves it, the best in the East after starting the season with 21 consecutive wins at home, a pace that's 10 games better than their 50-victory clip of last year.
New York is the team that we're going to have to beat in the Eastern Conference. And until we do that, they're the better basketball team. So, you know, we have all the respect in the world for the Knicks.
Well, Doc, the Knicks may not make up the 6.5 games in the division in what remains of the regular season, but they've got a crack at them in all likelihood in the playoffs.
Oh, definitely, yes. And even during the regular season, they have over 30 games left. They're going to play one another several times. So the Knicks have an excellent chance of trying to catch Orlando. Orlando hasn't hit a stretch where they've had a great deal of adversity yet. And then we can't forget about the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets are the best team not to make the playoffs last year, and that was only because of injuries. So they're definitely a contender.
Speaking of adversity, no team experienced greater adversity recently than these Phoenix Suns losing Danny Manning.
That's right. They were right in there for the championship from the beginning. Houston and Seattle being the other two teams. Of course, Utah has come on strong. San Antonio, no one thought they'd be that good. I think the key in the second half is who is going to get Scottie Pippen, who is going to get Clyde Drexler, will Kendall Gill be traded? Check back with me after the February 23rd trading deadline, and I'll tell you who's going to win.
Well, so much for the second half of the season. On to the second half of the All-Star game with the West leading it 72-56. We'll send it back to Marv, Matt, and the Snapper after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
Welcome back to Phoenix. The West All-Stars leading the East All-Stars 72-56. Marv Albert, Matt Kukas, and Steve Jones. Check this out, guys. A true tribute to Anthony Hardaway, showing compassion for the couple of stitches over the eyebrow of Hardaway. Now, those are real fans. The story in the first half, tremendous shooting by the West, 55% from the field.
It was a real dominant effort by them, and I think when you talk about what caused it was their ability to make transition plays. And when we go back and look at last year, our thoughts for Shaquille O'Neal were, poor Shaquille. He wasn't prepared for triple team, but that's not the case today. I mean, you see three jerseys around Shaquille O'Neal, but he was able to step back, make some plays, make something happen. He had a 10-point first half, and you would still be coaching if you had guys like Gary Payton and an attitude of the West.
Oh, man, I would accept that.
I don't accept that. Gary Payton, but a big reason why the West has taken control of this ballgame, making a nice bounce pass feed, and then the little looper to Dikembe Mutombo, as Payton has done it for the Seattle Supersonics and the Western Conference All-Stars.
Steve, Matt prefer to be alongside the two of us. A look at the Miller Genuine Draft halftime stats, fast break points. The West 26-14 over the East. Gary Payton 9 assists in his 10 minutes of play. And a look at the shooting, the East 23 of 49, 47% of the West, 31 for 56, despite the fact they have not been able to hit the three-point shot. They've been doing it from two-point range. Karl Malone, 13 points on 5 of 5 from the field and 3 of 4 from the line. So in this 45th NBA All-Star game at the half, the West up by 16. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to America West Arena. A couple of members of the East team, which is trailing by 16 points, Grant Hill and Joe Dumars. Joe, where's that Eastern Conference defense, buddy? This is, you know, a couple members of the Detroit Pistons here.
We're about to turn it on in the second half right now. Big time D.
All right, what do you think about this young man's performance so far in his first ever All-Star game?
He took more shots than anybody on the team, and everybody's getting on him about it right now. But he's playing great, though.
Oh, really? So you're going to play it low-key in the second half, Grant?
No question. I'm going to go out there and pass to Shaq and those guys and try to get us back going on the defensive end.
You told me you were really nervous beforehand. Now do you feel like you belong?
I feel a little better now, but I'm still nervous.
All right, guys, have a good second half. Try to play your way back into it here. Let's send it over to Ahmad on the west side.
All right, thanks, Hannah. Now, the mark of a great pro is consistency, and this here is a great pro.
No, don't do that to me. You just jinxed me. I won't do nothing the rest of the day now.
Here we go. You guys have started out like wildfire out there in Utah. 15 straight road wins. You guys are making some noise.
Ahmad, we knew we had a ride when you showed up to do an interview on it. That's when we know our ship it came in. Now, we playing really well as a team. All the guys off the bench in Utah are doing a great job. Adam, David, Brian, Jamie, all those guys doing a heck of a job for us. So it's really neat to see that, but we're still not where we want to be at yet. But we don't want you to come back to Utah no more. Now, you wait till the end of the year to come back.
I'll be back.
Well, come back after all of it's over with now. Don't jinx us.
All right, Carl, back to you, Marv.
All right, Ahmad being shown the that he's very welcome back in Salt Lake City. Karl Malone in his 8 minutes, 5 of 5 from the field, 13 points in all. Joe Dumars mentioned the shot total of Grant Hill. He took 8 shots in the first half, which was high for both ball clubs. So look at the leading scorers in the first half. The West with 72 points in the half. The All-Star game record is 87 by the West.
Well, there's a couple of guys in the backcourt starting for the East that have drawn donuts, and we'll see if they make something happen and get into this game. Miller and Hardaway have been non-existent.
Olajuwon had it knocked away. And back comes Reggie Miller. Anthony Hardaway and Reggie Miller in the backcourt. Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal, and Alonzo Mourning on the front line. And here's Pippen. Rebounded by O'Neal. And Shaquille fouled. So Shaquille O'Neal will go to the line. Well, Valentine's Tuesday. Be sure to catch Kathy Ireland, Rachel Hunter, Christy Brinkley, and the world's most glamorous supermodels in the Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Special. That's Valentine's Tuesday at 10, 9 Central, right here on NBC. Matt, why are you looking at me like that?
It's one of your best segues I've ever seen.
Back to the game. I'm really not surprised that that Brian Hill has gone with Alonzo Mourning to kind of match the power runners of the Western Conference. Kemp, Barkley, and Malone really hurt the East in that first half. Brian Hill has sat Grant Hill down to go with Mourning, the power runner for the East, so far, or should be in this third quarter.
Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon. Last season's MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, Most Valuable Player of the Finals, leading the Rockets to the NBA Championship. Here comes Barkley. Try to set up Sprewell. Last touch by the East.
Obviously, there has been a lot of sun time for the guys in purple because they're always late getting back. And there were 4 white jerseys to 2. That's the best part about coming to play to a warm weather city. Guys from the East are not adjusting very well.
And Mourning able to rip it down. 74-57, the West on top. That's a 3-pointer for Reggie Miller, and for Reggie, his first field goal. He missed his first 5. Well, Boomer Esiason of the New York Jets and his son Gunnar enjoying the action. I think Boomer is at every big sporting event that takes place in America, and the next ticket he pays for will be his first. The West up by 14 with 1:45 gone by in the third quarter. Pippen to the fadeaway. And Olajuwon leading a 3-on-2. Sprewell for Marley, who sets for 3. Yes. Dan Marley hearing it from the Phoenix crowd. a 17-point Western lead. Morning. That was the first three-pointer by the West. They had missed their first 11. Barkley. Rebound, Barkley. The West 79, the East 60.
And the Western Conference just shoving it down the throat of the Eastern Conference, who just can't seem to put the ball in the basket, and then they compound it by not getting back on defense. That is depth.
The last time Barkley looked around to see if any purple jerseys were coming, and all of a sudden realized there wasn't, so he just went all the way in.
Shaquille O'Neal. He has 13 points. The West has won 2 of the last 3 All-Star games. Overall, the East with 28 wins, the West with 16. And a foul has been called. The outside man, Steve Javie, indicating Shaquille O'Neal on the personal.
Things clogged up inside for Shaq, so he is working on his little fadeaway jump shot, which has gotten better and better over the last 3 years, along with the jump hook. We haven't seen much of the jump hook tonight. That has almost become his go-to move. Of course, the signature move is still the power slam, but if he could ever develop that face-up shot like Patrick Ewing, like Robinson, like Ewing, it is really going to add a major dimension to his game.
Mark, we have a chance to get a historical perspective here. Matty played with Chamberlain. The difference or the similarities between O'Neal and Chamberlain?
Well, overpowering players inside, no question about that. But, you know, there's been a lot of talk about that. It's so difficult to compare players from different eras. Even Wilt Chamberlain is saying right now, with his eyes wide open, this young man is something very, very special.
Hardaway trying to get on the scoreboard, draws a foul from Olajuwon, but that's the first time we've seen him close on the finishing end of a fast break, and he is really an electric player. And as much as he talked about making this a special All-Star game for Shaquille O'Neal, he has struggled this afternoon. It's been a tough time for him to really get it. You would think that he's Grant Hill, and it's the other way around.
Not to take the Chamberlain-O'Neal comparison one step further. Who was the better free throw shooter?
I know the big fellas out there.
I noticed the hesitation.
Shaquille. Sorry, big fella.
That was a long pause. You know that you're going to hear from...
Oh, I know I'm going to see him.
The alley-oop thrown away. Pippen firing it to the stands. 79-64. The West in front, 8.5 left in this third quarter. Olajuwon to the spin. Played very well by O'Neal. Mourning with the rebound. Nick Miller for 3. Yes. Reggie Miller hitting on his second straight 3. He is one of the superb pure shooters in the game, and if he gets started, he's hit 2 in a row. He's cut the West lead down to 12. 7-0 run by the East.
A little bit of defensive energy and rebounding has brought them back along with the long bounce. And it looks like the pride of the East is beginning to show up.
And shot by Barkley, claiming he was hacked. O'Neal backing his way. Goes to the jump hook. And a loose ball foul is called. And it's on Mourning, yes. That is number 4 on Alonzo.
Well, Bob, you're starting to mention, looks like Reggie Miller getting the, as we take a look at Billy Crystal, who was the MC at the Chucksters Roast the other night. Charles Barkley took it on the chin from a number of people.
Too bad Charles is just not an easy target also, Billy was on fire with his comments. It was batting practice for Billy Crystal. Pippen from downtown. And it went over the backboard, so the ball presented back to the West.
I was about to say before that Reggie Miller looked like he was starting to warm up, get that hot hand. I thought he passed up an open jumper in the corner right now. I was talking to him before the game. You kind of get the feeling the Indiana Pacers wanted to come out this second half of the season and really put up more shots. He's only averaging 13 shots a game. They want at least 20 from him.
In order to get back to the finals, they're going to need an explosive Reggie Miller effort in the second half.
And Marley able to flip it down to Payton. Miller is back. Payton goes right at him. And it's rejected by Miller. Barkley on the follow. the turnover. And a timeout is called by Paul Westphal.
Well, Reggie Miller's starting to feel it now. Hardaway finds him. He's fouled him before for a couple wide opens, one in rhythm this time. The man who came in second last night in the three-point shootout. Good form, gets his feet under him, and when this guy gets it going, he's as good as anybody in three-point shots. And defensively, Reggie with the block shot, and he's going to hang in there and come up with a steal.
Back in a moment. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
The NBA All-Star Game is brought to you by Miller Lite Ice. The night is young. By Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And by Reebok. Come see how the game is played on Planet Reebok.
Welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona. A look at Dikembe Mutombo, who was originally not selected for the All-Star team and was very upset about it, but then Cedric Ceballos went out after surgery on a torn ligament in his right thumb, and Mutombo named to replace Ceballos. Cedric, though, on hand for the festivities this weekend, and he's with the Dean. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Mike. Cedric, you're having a wonderful year out there in Los Angeles. A lot of people didn't expect a lot from your team, but they've really turned it around.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think the most important thing that we got our confidence up, and the players don't want to go back to where they were last year, and we're rolling with it.
Well, I'm sure the happiest person on this team is Mutombo. Because of your injury, he's here.
Well, yeah, Mutombo didn't do it on purpose. He didn't intentionally try to hurt me, but I just bumped into him, and that was just the situation. You know, Mutombo apologized, and he didn't even know what he was apologizing for because he didn't even notice hitting me. But it was an unfortunate situation. I'm happy to be elected as All-Star, and I'm happy to be here.
All right, you forgot to say hello to Karl Malone's mother.
Miss Malone, Karl Malone said hi.
All right, let's go to you, Hannah.
All right, I'm with the guy that helped spark the East. Well, brought him with the 12 points anyway. A couple of three-pointers. A nice block there, too, Reggie.
Well, you know, people really don't know about my defensive skills. The only thing they know about my shooting. So Jerry tried to make a nice finger roll on me. I thought I'd go up and get it a little bit. But we're starting to make a run here. You know, the West, they got a big squad, and they kind of ran us in the first half. Our goal was to come out in the second half and try to get back into the game as quickly as possible. And yeah, I think we have a chance here. We're down by 12, but we're making a run.
Well, you're right when you said most people know you for your offense. Spike Lee sort of made you a cult figure there, huh?
Well,
last year in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I was hoping he would have been here. I really would have been on fire if he'd been sitting in the front row, but I guess he was kind of absent today, so oh well.
Well, now that you're a celebrity, is this All-Star game where you're a starter a lot different from your first appearance in 1990?
Well, the first time I was so nervous, you know, being on the same floor with Jordan and Byrne. I was just so excited to be there, but this time it's a little bit more relaxing.
All right, have fun and fire up some more trays. Get these guys back in it, Reggie. All right, Mark.
All right, Hannah. West only 3 of 13 from the field in this third quarter, and as a result, as Dumars is able to hit, it's down to a 10-point lead. The East making its way back. Payton off the mark. Hit the line by Olajuwon. And rebounded by O'Neal.
Well, O'Neal pushed everybody out of the way and is trying to go all the way.
And the foul! Shaquille O'Neal taking it the length of the court, and he will go to the line.
Shaq lives for this kind of play, and you can see it on the big smile on his face. The man wants to be a point guard, and look at him put it down and pick it up and finish with the little finger roll, and all of his teammates on the Eastern Conference bench appreciating the many skills of Shaquille O'Neal.
Foul on Kemp, his fourth. But Shaquille not able to put the free throw down. He's 3 of 5 at the line. The West has missed its last 10 shots. Make it, well, Robinson fouled, so that will not be an official miss. It is still 0 for the last 10, and Robinson will go to the line. The East with 11 unanswered points to cut it to an 8-point lead.
We got a lot of centers in the ball game, and it'll be real interesting to see how they mesh. O'Neal, Ewing, Olajuwon, Robinson. It would seem, Matt, that the Robinson-Olajuwon combination might be easier to work with, but David plays more like a forward.
Well, they both can face the basket and play like forwards. Shaquille and Patrick in the last 2 All-Star games played quite a bit of time together, so that's not really strange to them. Patrick can step out at 17 feet and face the basket. The big key for the Eastern centers is getting back to stop those easy layups.
The West got bored, and now they're overheated, and they need to get back to plays like that to keep their lead.
And Payton, with his second field goal, he has 4 points. 81-71, the West on top. Hill gets inside, and he's fouled by Kemp. Grant Hill able to extend.
Gary Payton really was the spark plug in the first half in a short period of time, and he may have to reignite the West, but this is a terrific finger roll to get to when they have really been struggling to score, and that look would tell you what, he got kind of bored with the game. Now it's a little bit more exciting. Let's see if they get revved up again.
Correction on the foul. Robinson called for the foul. Grant Hill, the leading vote getter for this year's All-Star game, which has amazed Grant. He says he's shocked about it and is somewhat embarrassed, although he's excited, but he understands that as Mitch Richmond is able to hit the 3, so Richmond has 11 and the West is up 84-71. Grant says, though, he understands the circumstances, that he's a very popular guy and got the votes from throughout the country.
And his father, Calvin, saying before the game he thought there might be a little foul stuffing. He was freely admitting it. And you know what? In 20 years, nobody will ever remember how Grant Hill made his first All-Star team. I think he's going to make many before it's all over.
There's no question that is a tremendous talent. I think he just surprised everybody with his all-around ability. And Dumars trying to heat up himself.
84-73, the West by 11. They led by as many as 20. Kemp with the head fake, but met by a double team. And a foul is called off that double team. It's on Ewing. That's his third. 4:39 remaining in the third quarter. Richmond, that's 2-point range. So Richmond with a 3 and a 2, and the West is up by 13.
Once again, the good decision-making of Gary Payton. He can either take it in the lane himself and look for a score. If the defense stops him, he knows where the open people are.
Here's the double team. Richmond helping out on O'Neal. Now Kemp comes over. Shaquille is fouled. And we are now seeing the West, as this game winds down, as we approach the end of the third quarter, the West going more frequently to the double team.
Well, they want to get aggressive on defense. They know that the East is trying to climb back into this ball game, and they can do it with Shaq powering to the basket. At the other end of the floor, we saw Patrick Ewing coming down and double teaming. As this game wears on, it's going to get more and more fierce at the defensive end. We talked about the pride factor there. You see O'Neal, the most frequent visitor to the free throw line.
Are you sure they can get back in the game with O'Neal shooting free throws?
Well, if he shoots enough of them and gets other big people in foul trouble, that's what's happening. That's why they are 37-10 with Shaquille leading the league in scoring. Still not a great free throw shooter, but he can score points.
Shaquille is 4 of 7 at the line today. Payton setting up Robinson. But they cough it up, and the ball goes back to the East. Kevin Mutombo returning for the West. And Ben Baker of the Bucks comes on for the East. Keel O'Neal will sit down, leads with 16 points. Dana Barros of the Sixers, guarded by Gary Payton of the Supersonics. Joe Dumars gets the screen and hits the 3. And Joe Dumars heating it up here in the third quarter. Cuts it to an 86-77 West lead.
That was a big-time, old-fashioned 3. He was about 3 feet behind the mark. But Dumars is a really explosive offensive player who will have big periods, and Shawn Kemp trying to get back to that first quarter where he dominated play using his quickness against Grant Hill.
Shawn Kemp has really improved this part of his game. Actually, every year he has been in the league, his scoring and rebounding figures have gone up. He was like a raw athlete when he came out of Trinity Junior College. George Karl telling me last week that Shawn Kemp is becoming a fine basketball player in just about every area, in particular the rebounding, and that's why the Seattle Supersonics are in the hunt of the West.
He had such great quickness and foot speed. He had a lot of trouble with control and decision, and every year he's gotten a lot better.
88-77, West Hill is fouled. Grant Hill taking it to the hoop. And fouled by Kemp. That's 5 on Kemp.
Very alert play by Grant Hill, who got whipped at the other end on the baseline spin move by Kemp, and it says right back at you. Grant Hill has played on some playgrounds in his day as he forced the issue there, and that's a key player for the Western Conference. Shawn Kemp has been very valuable.
And the East is only 11 of 22 at the line, and Hill is 0 for 3. Only one player has fouled out in the last 17 All-Star games, as you see Kemp sitting down after picking up his 5th. Grant Hill 0 for 4 at the line, usually a solid free throw shooter. 11-point West lead. Declan Schrempf, who just checked in, getting it over to Mitch Richmond, and he has been on fire. Richmond is now 7 of 9 from the field. He has 15 points. The West by 13. Here's Barros. Yes. The West 90 and the East 79.
How about the Kembe Mutombo out there respecting that first offering on the pump fake by Barros to make him change it. Barros just improved his position.
Kembe Mutombo leading the NBA in block shots and rebounding. Open shot for Schrempf, passed up on the long-range bomb and went for the drive. It was not contested. 92-79, West 2.5 to go in the third. Dumar's looking for the pick from Ewing.
Well, when they brought Richmond and Payton in, they got some guys that wanted to score the ball that hadn't gotten bored with the game, and they got back on top and got in control again.
Foul on Schrempf, timeout taken. We'll be back in a moment. You're watching the NBA on NBC. Well, it's about 17 minutes past 6 here in the Valley of the Sun. I believe somewhere in the distance, Bruce Wayne is leaving the Batcave as Batman. Right out there, guys. At the controls of the Goodyear Blimp Eagle today is Captain Tom Mattis. Cameraman is Glenn Hampton. A look from above here in Phoenix, Arizona. A moment ago, we saw Shaquille O'Neal leading the break, ripping down the rebound, putting it on the floor, going the length of the court, and also drawing the foul. And Shaquille is with Hannah.
Well, Shaquille, as we just saw in the highlight there, looks like you and the Eastern Conference guys coming out with some more intensity in the second half.
Yeah, we were down 14, 15 points. We're just going to come out and try to get some stops and try to get some rebounds and just try to win this game.
Shaq, last year the All-Star game was a frustrating experience for you as you were triple teamed virtually the entire game. How do you compare this? Is it what you expected this time around?
I'm just glad that the West team has let me play this year. And last year, I don't know why it happened last year, but it's just a learning experience for me, and I'm just happy to be out here, happy to be playing.
Do you sense any difference in the approach that other players have? I know you felt that was a concerted effort by the West to shut you down last year.
I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm just glad to be here with guys like Joe Dumars and Penny Hardaway. I'm just trying to, come out and just have a great weekend.
All right, Shaq, have fun.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Marv.
All right, Hannah, and Shaquille O'Neal with 16 points, as you saw, 6 of 11 from the field, and rarely has been double and triple team. It's only here in the third quarter, and we may see more of it, though, in the fourth as this game gets tighter. 92-81, the West with the lead as we come up on 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Richmond and Stockton now in the backcourt with Robinson, Schrempf, and Mutombo up front for the West. This is Schrempf, stopped, got it to Mutombo, and they just did beat the 24.
Well, 3 or 4 extra passes. I don't know how he got off in time. Mutombo's offensive game inside has kind of dwindled the last couple of years. He's going to have to be more of an offensive force for Denver in the second half of the year.
You can't shoot it if you don't get it, and that's one of the problems with Dikembe. They tried to diversify things in Denver, and he really wasn't getting a number of looks at it, and you're not going to be a potent offensive player if you don't see the ball on the regular dive.
Mutombo in a little bit of trouble here. Got it over to Schrempf, who was forced to change his shot, and Mutombo just as the 24-second clock was winding down.
Off the leg block, new 24 for the Weston squad. John Stockton setting it up against Joe Dumars. Tumble guarded by his good friend, Ewing. Robinson putting the move on Baker and was stopped. Robinson thought he was clobbered.
He said, now, you know, that was a regular season game. I'd be at the free throw line, but I'll take the 3 from Stockton.
Yes, John Stockton with the second field goal. They're calling it a 2-point shot put on the line. And the West now leads 96-81. 1 minute left in the third. This is Baker, the second-year man for the Milwaukee Bucks, who had it knocked away. Richmond for Schrempf, loops it to Robinson, and David Robinson with his third field goal. David Robinson, among several players on the Western squads, coming in with a minor injury, bothered by a mild sprain of the right ankle. There was a question mark during the week as to how much he would play. Patrick Ewing pops it out. Joe Dumars, he had to force it, and rebounded by Larry Johnson. Stolen by Robinson. Richmond pulls up for 3. Yes. Oh, Mitch Richmond. 8 of 10 from the field. He has 18 points, and he is the high man. Mitch Richmond of the Sacramento Kings, giving the West a 20-point lead once again. Final seconds, third quarter. Strong pass by Ewing, and the West will get it back.
Well, Mitch Richmond quietly but effectively does his job night in and night out. He gives you that solid 22, 23 points the ball game. As a good defensive player, an outstanding three-point shooter. He started for the Western Conference in the All-Star game last year.
That was really his first chance to play, and this is really his second appearance.
Three-pointer by Schrempf, and the West leads 104-81 as this third quarter comes to a close. Mitch Richmond with 10 of his 18 points in the third quarter.
With plays like this, John Stockton on the fast break, looks one way, finds Richmond with the feet set, knew where he was on the floor, and he has been feeling it all night long as the Western Conference bench realizes they are pulling away in this one.
So that's the end of the third quarter. We'll be back after a word from your local station.
Cast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Welcome back to America West Arena, Phoenix, Arizona. And at the end of three quarters, the West with a 104-81 lead. 12 straight points by the West to end the third, and Mitch Richmond had the hot hand. He's 8 of 10 overall. He has hit his last 8 shots, missed his first 2. And you see the list of best all-star shooting, and Mitch Richmond may be knocking on the door. He is alongside Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, thanks, Bob. Now, Mitch, playing in Sacramento, all the players in the league know how great of a player you are. But this is your opportunity with this national audience to show all your stuff, and you've been doing just that.
Well, I've been just having a great week, and, you know, my shot felt great early. And I think Gary Payton and John Stockton been setting me up for some good shots. I've been wide open. I've just been knocking them down.
How about those Sacramento Kings, though? Nobody expects them to do anything. You've turned it all around up there.
Hey, well, we're playing great right now, and I think we got to get ready for the second half of the season because that's going to be the tough part. But we got 2 great rookies. We got our whole team is playing well together. Walt Williams is in better shape. OP is playing well. Spud is having an exceptional year. So everyone is coming together, and we're working hard and trying to win basketball.
And finally starting to talk about playoffs.
Hey, that's what we got to look forward to. You know, that is something that we want to play in the playoffs and be able to, you know, let everyone see us on national TV, and we're going to try to do that.
All right, Mitch. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Ahmad, and Mitch Richmond certainly among the leading contenders for the MVP award here this evening. See the fast break a moment ago as Sprewell is able to finish it off for a 106-81 West lead, and now Anthony Hardaway at the free throw line.
Well, that's been the story of this entire game, transition offense, and the West has just been much better and really more forceful with it the entire afternoon. The East had that one moment in the third quarter, and Marv, who do you got for an MVP vote?
Little girl. I'd like to... opening minute, fourth quarter. Let's wait a while.
You're expecting a big heroic effort here, huh?
Never know, guys. Give me about 5 or 6 minutes. Or 10. Better yet, after the game, yes. That will count as a foul. Alonzo Mourning will head to the line.
Well, the MVP in the West, it's a pick-em situation. Everybody's had a pretty good run. It would take a heroic effort like this from a Mourning and Hardaway in order for any of the guys to get some consideration this afternoon.
Well, Brian Hill has a quicker team out on the floor right now, trying to maybe beat the Western Conference down the floor for an easy basket, and he's got a three-point shooter in Joe Dumars out there as well, who can light it up very, very quickly.
Well, the leading candidates for the West, certainly Richmond. Gary Payton has 12 assists. Karl Malone, 5 of 5 from the field. He has 13 points. And a holding foul is indicated on Joe Dumars. Well, let's see. Isaiah Thomas is saying, I have a couple of players for you. I'm not sure exactly who it is, but perhaps we can talk. M.L. Carr, the general manager of the Boston Celtics, and representing the new Toronto Raptors, Isaiah Thomas. 20-point lead by the West. The East had it down to 8 in the third quarter, but a strong close to the quarter by the West. And Schrempf with a beautiful fadeaway. He has 9. Detlef Schrempf extends to a 22-point advantage.
Well, a terrific shooting by Mitch Richmond, but you can't say enough about the job Gary Payton and John Stockton has done at the point guard position for the Western Conference. They have kept things under control and got the ball to the right people at the right time.
So I'll pin it down. I'll take Payton for the MVP. You got 3 choices. Marv wants to wait another 10 minutes.
Give me 5.
I'll take Payton.
You took my guy.
Sprewell eluding Dumars.
Well, you know, one thing that was apparent both times that Payton was in the game, the West really spurted, and he made a huge contribution, even though his scoring numbers won't reflect it.
Larry Johnson. And Detlef Schrempf pops it down. John Stockton has 5 assists to this point. Looking for number 6 right there. Broken up, though, by the combination of Mourning and Pippen. A timeout has been called. 9:48 remaining in the fourth.
Miller Genuine Draft presents Genuine Moments.
Today's Miller Genuine Draft Genuine Moment takes us back to the 1988 All-Star Game in Chicago. 40-year-old Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, appearing in a 17th All-Star Classic, became the leading scorer in All-Star history. And earlier this week, Kareem named to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, among 7 to be inducted. In recognition of that moment, Miller Genuine Draft donates $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. 251 All-Star points by Kareem, still a record. 9:48 remaining in the fourth quarter. The West 108 and the East 86. John Stockton, Latrell Sprewell now in the backcourt. Dikembe Mutombo, Detlef Schrempf, Karl Malone up front. And the shot clock is down to 4. It's down to 2. Stockton gets it away. And that's a 24-second violation. The ball not hitting the rims.
Well, the Eastern Conference is going to have to do a lot more of that, being aggressive defensively, try to get some stops and turn those stops into either easy fast break baskets or some three-pointers.
All right, Coach, tell me, what did you think when you looked up there when you were coaching, your team was down like that? You got almost 10 minutes to go. Could you do it?
Oh, definitely. All you want to do is get to around 10, 11 points with 6 minutes to go in the quarter.
Dumars. So Joe Dumars, who had the good third quarter, now 5 of 8 from the field. He has 11. And the West is up 108-88. Sprewell. Latrell Sprewell of the Golden State Warriors. Latrell came and hurt his right foot earlier in the week. Hardaway for three. Rebounded by Schrempf.
Penny Hardaway has just never got on track in this ballgame. I think he came out in the beginning of the game thinking get people involved, just pass the ball. He should thrive in a wide open court game like this with taking the ball to the basket.
Mutombo getting a second opportunity. Stockton for three. Again, the back tap by Schrempf, but this time Johnson there to feed Pippen. Well, last year's All-Star MVP, Scottie Pippen of the Chicago Bulls, able to put it down 110-90. The West on top. Pippen has 9 points.
Morning held up Sprewell. He was going a little bit off balance, and they get a quick score the other way. But Scottie Pippen last year came out with the idea of establishing himself. He felt he could win the MVP. And he's already got it, so he doesn't feel quite so necessary to really try to take things over. Sprewell, one day he may be an MVP.
Well, the East trying a little mid-court pressure there, trying to trap the basketball, but the heads-up play of John Stockton finding the wide-open Sprewell behind the defense.
It has not been a very pleasant season for Latrell Sprewell and the Golden State Warriors. They came into Madison Square Garden in New York last week with 9 players. Then Tom Gugliotta got hurt down to 8. As you know, my brother Steve broadcasts the games of the Golden State Warriors. He was the only person involved with the Warriors that I would say was happy about only 8 players on the charter flight going back to the next city, but he said, look at it this way, there's more food for everyone. Karl Malone has made it 6 of 6 from the field. 15 points for Malone. Hardaway able to find Johnson.
Mom, that was their best effort against the Knicks on that road trip, which they really looked bad on, and we may have some news about Don Nelson.
Missing on the reverse. Hardaway for the trailing O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal set up by his teammate Anthony Hardaway.
And those are the kind of plays that you expect from Anthony Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal. He's always looking for Shaq trailing and running the play, and he'll deliver the ball.
O'Neal with the steal. And Shaquille looking to go the length of the court again. He did, but threw up a brick.
He was thinking of going behind his back. He couldn't get it around. He was going to go behind.
Here's Schrempf. And back comes the East on the run. Hardaway for Pippen. And Marley gets to it.
You can see there's one more trip into some guys that don't want to make this last time down the floor. And the fatigue factor beginning to show up because these guys are not close.
Here's Shaquille for three, and he throws the air ball.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
And Shaquille is hearing it from the crowd. Olajuwon for three. Well, there's an answer from Akeem. You can't do it, but I can from downtown. 118-92, the West on top with 6:04 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Shaquille told the West bench he got hit across the arm. That's why he aired that one out.
Alonzo Mourning has 8 points. NBA Commissioner David Stern, who I don't know if that's a reaction to the Shaquille 3-point air ball, but he certainly enjoyed the weekend here in Phoenix.
Hardaway knows where that bread is buttered, right behind him. Shaquille O'Neal trailing the play and finishing strong. Here, thinking about going behind his back, got it caught on his rib, tried to finish, couldn't get his legs under him, and then, for whatever reason, the big fella behind the 3-point line, he felt it, he let it go, and he drew nothing, maybe the bottom of the net, but it didn't go through the rim. But the big smile on Shaq's face, hey, at least I'm trying, but Shaquille O'Neal can knock some of those threes down.
I think Shaq spent too much time this weekend with Queen Latifah.
The NBA All-Star Game is brought to you by Sprite. Image is nothing. Thirst is everything. Obey your thirst. Sprite. By the new Ford Explorer. Far and away the best Ford Explorer ever. And by Goodyear. #1 in tires.
Back in Phoenix, the Goodyear Blimp Eagle from Los Angeles covering the game today. And that you guys know it takes 14 hours to fly from L.A. to Phoenix by blimp. Just want to point that out.
Did not know that.
Well, there's the Gorilla, the Phoenix Suns mascot, doing his regular routine, and Charles Barkley trying to get into the act, looking to convince Hakeem Olajuwon to get involved. Check this out.
Well, Dan Marley comes out and keeps Barkley from doing. He knows he's going to need him to go deep in the playoffs. So Westfall, Scotty Robertson, let's get this guy out there. He's the guy that went to the finals and won it all last year. Let's make him try to jump out of the building.
No, let's get rid of him. So when he misses that catapult, then that's one less guy they have to worry about.
Now that is unsportsmanlike.
Oh, no coach would be that way.
5 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The West with a 118-94 lead.
Well, Steve, your choice as MVP, Gary Payton back into the ballgame.
You say it with a little hesitancy because I stole him from you, but he really played a big role in the West continuing to dominate the ball game, and from this point on, you know, it's fun time for everybody, and we might even see O'Neal try one more three-point field goal.
As long as he doesn't get in on the arm again.
Gary Payton with 12 assists. And Hardaway, off the nice lead, comes up with only his first field goal. 6 points for Hardaway, along with 10 assists. 118-96. The West looking to make it a clear-cut victory. They had led virtually all the way. The East got it down to an 8-point edge in the third quarter. That's a traveling violation. Here's Patrick Ewing of the Knicks checking back. And he replaces Larry Johnson of the Hornets.
Ewing, and we've got a pretty big combination up there for the East, but I don't see how that's going to change the way the scoreboard is looking right now.
Well, the only way it could happen is if Reggie Miller all of a sudden gets unconscious and starts knocking threes down.
Pippen with the save, but handled by Payton. He's going with Ewing and Shaquille O'Neal up front. That was a lead alley-oop intended for Malone. And here's Shaquille going to the hoop.
Charles Barkley saw the freight train coming. No way was he going to step in front of it.
Well, a look at the MVP candidates. Payton with the 12 assists. Mitch Richmond, 8 for 10, 18 points in 19 minutes. Karl Malone, 6 of 6 from the field. He has 15 points. And a foul is called on the strip.
Remember that little line he had with Hannah? The West is letting me play. And he is making it his playground this afternoon, because every time he has been able to put the ball on the floor and find an open lane, he's thundered it down.
20 points, 7 rebounds for Shaquille. You are watching the NBA on NBC. All-Star Most Valuable Players down through the years. Some familiar faces being shown. Karl Malone and John Stockton winning it collectively. Scottie Pippen last year taking honors in Minneapolis. And I would say these are the 5 top candidates. And I've come to my conclusion, Mitch Richmond. 8 for 10 in 19 minutes. Did I say something funny?
Thanks, guys. You left me with nobody.
All right, let's go to Ahmad for a report over at the West Bench.
All right, Marv, just during that timeout, Paul Westphal gave the guys who have a chance to be the MVP of this game a chance to go back in and win it for themselves. He has Payton in, Barkley in, and Mitch Richmond has just entered the game. Marv?
All right, Ahmad. Olajuwon is also back out there, as is Marley. And the block by O'Neal, 9 on the shot clock.
There hasn't been a lot of shot blocking in this game, and we got some premier shot blockers out there.
Olajuwon. Well, Hakeem hitting from outside. He's now 6 of 13. He has 13 points and 11 rebounds. I throw Hakeem into the mix. Shaquille with 2 block shots. Here's Miller. That was a three-point attempt. Hardaway with 8 points. 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go in this 45th NBA All-Star game. Peyton. Marley from downtown. Yes.
Well, since Marley's not one of those guys, he's got nothing to lose. He may as well get ready for the next ball game.
And also a gesture on Paul Westfall's part to get the hometown favorites, Marley and Barkley, on the floor for the hometown fans.
And Pippen answers with a three-pointer, so Scotty has 12 points. And the West is up 123 to 103. Richmond posting up on Miller. Does not have the shot.
Well, one thing, he's not going to spoil that 80% shooting that he's got now.
Barkley for three. And Gary Payton collects his 13th assist. The West leads 126-103. That pass misfiring intended for Pippen. Pippen coming from behind to take it away from Barkley, leaving O'Neal to hit the reverse.
Well, they mugged him. They double-teamed him. They hacked him. They grabbed him. But Shaq gets another dunk.
The West 126 and the East 105. That deflected out. Payton was trying to find Barkley.
Well, Barkley's looking at Gary Payton and say, I need shots like this, where I don't have to move, I don't have to do anything.
Charles letting Patrick know that he's going to have to come out a lot quicker than that to stop the great three-point shooting of Charles Barkley.
You're watching the NBA All-Star Game.
A reminder, next Sunday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, the NBA action continues here on NBC as Hakeem and the Rockets will go up against Patrick Ewing and the Knicks in a rematch of last season's NBA Finals that went the full 7, won by the Rockets. In the earlier meeting at the Summit in Houston, the Knicks, led by John Starks, came roaring back and knocked off the Rockets 93-77. A look at the Eastern Conference standings. A look in the West as this All-Star break will lead to a very good finish in both conferences.
Steve, you see the Western Conference quite a bit. The Suns right now, best record in the league. Tragic loss in Danny Manning. Kevin Johnson still not right. The health of Barkley going to be important. Can they do it this year?
Well, you know, you saw the Rockets well down in the standings, but if they, the Houston Rockets get a chance to play the Phoenix Suns, they feel that they can take that team out. They match up extremely well, and they feel they can take them down. Now, experience is the story in the East, Matt. Is it going to matter against the Orlando Magic?
Well, you know, so many people are saying the fact that the Magic have not yet won a playoff game. The Magic did not have Horace Grant last year. He is a major piece in that puzzle.
A minute 40 to go in this fourth quarter. Payton for Marley gets it back out for Richmond, who fires for three. Yes. 23 points for Richmond, who was connected on 10 of 13 from the field. Hardaway for three. And Mutombo rebounds. The West 131 and the East 107. Marley.
Richmond must have heard they were voting just about now, because he came in with 5 more points and he's the leading scorer in the game.
And a foul is called. A holding foul. Foul on Marley.
Mitch Richmond has been feeling it all night long. Very comfortable behind the three-point line. Even off the dribble, the little hesitation. He has had himself a terrific offensive ball game, and he's also a very good defender.
Back to the live action. Hardaway able to hit sweeping down the lane, and the West now leads 133 to a 109. 22nd timeout taken by Paul Westphal. The All-Star Game record, 154 points scored by the East in 1984, and the West did it in 1987. So the West with 133 with a minute and 20 to go in this fourth quarter. Reminder, tonight at 9, 8 Central, Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer will star in the network television premiere of Batman Returns. That'll be following the NBA All-Star Game. That's tonight here on NBC.
Talking about playoffs, Steve, Mitch Richmond and the Sacramento Kings right now battling it out with the Portland Trailblazers for 7th and 8th spots in the Western Conference. What do you think?
Oh, Mitch Richmond said one thing that the Kings have never had before is two big, strong inside players who really thrive on defense, and that's really energized them. I think that overall Portland may still have the better team, but they don't have the identity that the Kings have at the present time.
Under a minute remaining. Pippen for three. And broken up by Pippen trying to save it. That will not work. 46 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. The high point man of the game, Shaquille O'Neal with 22. For the West, Mitch Richmond with 23. Gary Payton, 14 assists. And Mutombo hammers it down. 10 points for Dikembe Mutombo with a half minute left in the fourth quarter. 135-109 for the West. 3-point attempt. Reggie Miller hits the three. He has 9 points. And again it's Mutombo. With 19 seconds to go, the West 137, the East 112. Hey, baby, come on, baby, boy. Off the interception, here comes Marley. Down to 10 seconds. Marley from way out. And Payton pops it home.
He had no choice. He didn't want to shoot it, but since no one was guarding him, but he has had a terrific game.
And here's Pippen. So that concludes matters. The West with a 139-112 victory over the East. We'll be back in a moment with the name of the winner of the Most Valuable Player Award. So stay with us. Back in Phoenix, victory for the West. Mitch Richmond of the Sacramento Kings named the Most Valuable Player. 10 of 13 from the field. He had 22 points and 23 points in 22 minutes. And he is with Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Marv. Fantastic game, Mitch. What does an award like this mean to you?
It means a lot. You know, I think, you know, our team has been winning and we've been having a great year, but it just caps it off how we turned the things around in Sacramento. It just feels good how long I waited to get here and to play like this. It feels great.
All right, congratulations. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Ahmad. So Mitch Richmond, the first Kings player since Oscar Robertson back in 1969. Won an All-Star MVP. Again, the final, the West 139 and the East 112. Coming up next on most of these NBC stations, it's the network television premiere of Batman Returns. Viewers on the West Coast will see Batman Returns at its regularly scheduled time. For Matt Kukas, Steve Jones, Ahmad Rashad, and Hannah Storm, I'm Marv Albert saying so long from America West Arena. This has been the NBA on NBC.